it's 9 p.m. in Djibouti. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have Prime Minister launches the work of a tourist complex in Xi'an in the Obok region. For the international scene in Mali, arrest of jihadists is suspected to prepare attack in the region. Welcome to our newsroom. The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed chaired today the launch ceremony of a hotel complex in Xi'an in the Obok region, located on a beautiful beach not far from the airport construction site, the late Ahmed Dini, with a panoramic views of the island of Seven Brothers. The international Chinese company Touch Road will realize a resort called Xi'an Spring Hotel. This project is part of the regional development plan of the Obok region, with the promotions of the tourism sector, which is one of the priorities area. At his arrival in Xi'an, the Prime Minister was hosted by the Secretary of State for Youth, Mr. Hassan Kamil, in the presence of the local authorities, whose warden is Hassan, the prefect of the region, Hassan Dabli Ahmed, and the president of the regional council, Mr. Mohammed Hamad Ismail, and parliamentarians of the region, and vice president of the UNFT, Ms. Hassan Ahmed Bilil. A huge crowd coming from all the localities of the Obok region, but also from Tajura and the capital, welcome the Prime Ministers in the presence of the CEO of the international company Touch Road and his collaborator. The CEO of the company has announced that the construction will be effective quickly, and the resort will include 15 villas to accommodate tourists who will have the opportunity to practice water sports. He came to Xi'an several times and was amazed by the site rich in tourist potential. He was encouraged by the political vision of the President of the Republic, Ismail Magele. The realizations of the Xi'an Hotel project will have many economic benefits for the regional community in terms of jobs, but also social projects in the region. This will be a source of growth for many unemployed young people in the Obok region. The company will start a training period in China for future employees of the Xi'an resort. Moreover, the ceremony launches of work brought together the President of the Assembly, Mr. Muhammad Ali Ahmed, and the majority of the members of the government, whose ministers of the Transport and Minister of Budget, the Minister of Education and Decentralization, and Secretary of State to Youth and Sports, the high civil leaders and the country's military, including the Chief of Staff, Zakaria Ibrahim, and the Mayor of the city, Ms. Fatuma Osman Awale. In the first place, the Prefect of Obok took the floor to congratulate the President for his political vision, which allowed many development projects on the whole and especially Obok, and thanked the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed. For his part, the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Mohammed Hamad Ismail, has wished a warm welcome to the delegation led by the Prime Minister, and he assured that this heavy investment will be ended peacefully with the participation of all Obok young people. For his part, the CEO of the Touch Road International Company made a little briefing for the durations of the construction work. Listen to him, please.
First time to be here is year 2013. That is in December. When my first time came here, I immediately like this place because I like the view here, the very beautiful sea, the beach, and the small mountain. This small mountain is a big challenge to me. I tried to climb to this mountain, but I was failed more than 3 times. So next time I would get to the top. I promise I will get to the top. Yeah. You know, the reason I came to here because I believe the vision of the President Gillen, the leader of Djibouti. I love him. I like his vision. He's bringing the country to be a rich country. After 5 years, I've been to Djibouti. I saw a lot of great change. The people, they are happy. The economic is growing. And more and more companies from China, they're coming to Djibouti and to invest. So we believe there's a lot of potential for Djibouti to grow in the future. And we believe more tourists will come. And we believe with the leadership of Mr. President Gele, Djibouti will have more beautiful future.
The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed took the floor and explained that this great hotel will be an opportunity for Obok people to get job in the construction phase, and after this hotel resort will boost the economic potential of all the region of Obok. The youth must be able to work in their region and for contribution of the development of our own region, he said. The Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed thanked the Chinese International Touch Road Company and CEOs for their effort to do more for the development of our beautiful country. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and Government spokesman Mahmoud Ali Yusuf participated in the first meetings of foreign ministers of the Council of Arab and African countries bordering the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, which took place in Riyadh on Wednesday, December 12, 2018. In his speech at the opening sessions, the Djiboutian head of diplomacy welcomed the creation of new entity which complement the joint effort to strengthen regional security and secure navigation of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. He said that the Republic of Djibouti has been actively involved as part of its peacekeeping role in the region and in all initiatives aimed at strengthening regional security. The Minister of Foreign Affairs also stressed that the new initiative will lay the foundations for harmonious regional cooperation in the service of the collective interest. At the end of the meeting, it was agreed on the importance of creating an entity bringing together the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. It should be noted that the 7 countries took part in this meeting devoted to the discussions of the Charter of the Council of Arab and African countries of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, namely Saudi Arabia, the Republic of Djibouti, Egypt, Sudan, Yemen, Jordan, and Somalia. On the sidelines of this meeting, the Saudi King Salman bin Abdul Aziz met with the foreign ministers of the participating countries and discussed with them the role of this entity in the area of promoting security, stability, trade, and investment in the region. The head of the Djiboutian diplomacy was accompanied by a large delegation, among which the ambassador to the Republic of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mr. Din Said Bamakrama. At the invitation of the Secretary General of the Islamic World League, the Minister of Muslims Affairs, Culture and Welfare, Waqf Mumin Hassan Barre, participated in the International Conference of Islamic Unity, which is held in Mecca from 12 to 13 December under the patronage of the servant of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud. Many personalities attend the event, including the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Abdullah Al Sheikh, and the Secretary General of the Organizations of the Islamic Conference, Yusuf bin Ahmed Al Uthaymin, and the chairman of the Forum for the Promotion of Peace in the Muslim Society, Sheikh Abdullah bin Riyah. Is it at the Grand Hilton Hotel in Mecca that Prince Khalid Al Faisal, advisor to the Saudi Sovereign's Emir of Mecca, kick off for the start of the work for the international conferences organized by the League of the Islamic World, with the participation of more than 1,000 personalities, including minister, great ulema, and academicians from 127 countries. The conference on the nominal systems of the act of naming in the Cushitic and Semitic languages spoken in the Horn of Africa was organized by the Language Institute of the Center for Study and Research, is known as CERD. Present at this conference were the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, the Director General of the Institute, Mr. Jalaluddin Mohammed, and the Director of the Institute of Language of Center for Study, Mr. Dr. Mohammed Hassan Kamil, as well as the European University Research, took part of this conference on the Cushitic language. The general managers of CERD underlined that he is happy to host the scientific day in Djibouti, whose initiative will be extended to the director of the Language Institute of the Center for Studies and Research, Dr. Mohammed Hassan Kamil. For his part, the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, recalled that Djibouti opens every day to the regions of these political activists, but also scientific, he says. This Sunday, December 13, 2018, was held a signing ceremony of partnership agreement between the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, represented by the Minister Muna Osman Aden, and the representative of the IPU, Abdullah Bari. This event took place in the Secretariat Cabinet in the presence of the senior members of the Minister and UNHCR, in accordance with the political will drawn by His Excellency the President of the Republic, Ismail Magale, and the commitment made by the government in the context of the comprehensive response refugee framework at the New York summit dedicated to refugees, who held at the United Nations on 19 September 2018. The Secretary of State for Social Affairs want to mark this commitment a reality by signing a framework convention which defines the axis of cooperation with the UNHCR with a view of to facilitating the integration of refugees into the socio-economic fabric. This convention aims at the framework of the cooperation to strengthen coordination between the two institutions with a view to carry out joint actions to facilitate the integrations of refugees and asylum seekers living in the Republic of Djibouti into the system of national social protection. This will be reflected in several target actions with these vulnerable layers of society, aiming in socio-economic integration as well as its integration into the various existing social services. For her part, the Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Muna Osman Aden, said, I have the honor to receive in my office the representative of UNHCR to discuss the voice and ways to strengthen the link between the two parties. We signed an agreement on bilateral cooperation on the situations of refugees who are settled in Djibouti. The Djibouti government has elaborated several projects for the support of the refugees, but also of law fixing their protection. Recall that the President of the Republic, Ismail Magale, took initiative on the receptionists of these people. To conclude my intervention, she said she would like to remind this signature aim to strengthen relations between the two institutions, she said. On Tuesday, December 11, 2018, the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, accompanied by Tahir Ali Mohammed and the Chief of Defense Staff of the strong military delegation, went guard in Arta, where a deployment of the transmissions would take place. CM Gad then moved it into the battalion honor rooms with the Lieutenant General Muhammad Mumin, assistance officers, and Captain Siad Abdullahi Hussein, signals commander, explained the maneuvers, its configurations and purpose, search for trainees, having an obvious overview. Samgat General Zakaria went on the files to attend the various workshops that included the practical exercise. The exercise taking place on the several sites. This general began its visit by technical workshop and attend the radio link which was happening between the various stations, which was an RTD and RAR1 EMEA and VIA. The main purpose of this exercise was to reflect the achievement and knowledge of the young recruit during the 4 months spent in the various training centers of the transmission through the setting up of the workshop. The ceremony ended with the traditional presentations of gifts and guests and various senior officials. The Community Management Committee of Balbala 11 Salam, in collaboration with UNFT, organized yesterday at the headquarters of the Community of Sensitization Day on the right of the child as part of the program for the promotion and protection of human rights, especially the child these days. of the participation of Balbala civil society, the coordination of Balbala 11, Ms. Mariam Abdillahi. The people gathered talk about many of questions that aim to improve the life of the Djiboutian child, especially the point of view of the negative results of female and genital mutilations and the need not to practice and its crucial role of women parents to protect children. Free movement in the canals of the ports of Djibouti. This was the missions of the Coast Guard of Djibouti in the day of December 12, 2018, following a discovery of a cable of over 2,000 meters by the permanent monitoring team of the complex port and tourist area. Indeed, it is during its daily missions of protection of the surrounding of port that the unit of maritime surveillance of the Coast Guard discovered this wire long of 2,000 meters dragged by a Greek liner. Although this cable is hooked up to the propellers of the ship without the crew noticing it, but not that did not prevent from the navigating to reach our shores. It caused the disruption during a moment of entry and exit of the port of Djibouti. Thus, the High Command of this Coast Guard Djibouti immediately dispatched an intervention team to fish the cable under the supervision of Colonel Wais Omar Bogre. This intervention brought to the critical situations of the harbor canal to a close and finally restored the flow of ships. Last night houses a friendship football matches between the two U20 formations of the two brothers country, Djibouti and Somali countries, after the traditional national anthem. The kickoff was given by the Somali Ministers of Youth and Sport, His Excellency Khadija Mohammed Diriye, in the presence of the friendly match between Djibouti and Somalia took place in the presence of the Secretary General Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Farah alias Mao and of the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, the President of the Djiboutian Federation of Football, Mr. Suleiman Weberi Hassan, the Director of Sport, Mr. Abshir Ali, as well as many supporters and young and all Djiboutians. In any case, it's the atmosphere that reigns that reflected the excellent relationship that prevailed between the two sisters republics. Both teams showed an exciting match with dribblers, kicks and crosses of shoot strikers, the post on crossbars. In the last minute of 11th half, the Somali selections opened the scoring. At the reception, the Somali doubled the stake. It was on penalty that the Djiboutian selections scored the goal to save the honors on assist. The Somali have widened to gap by adding 2 more goals to their account. Final score 4-1 in favor of Somalia. The collective games of Somali player has won against the experience of technical individuality of young Djiboutian footballer. For the international scene, 2 suspected jihadists from Burkina Faso, another from Mali, one from Ivory Coast, suspected of planning attack in these 3 countries for the end of year celebration, were arrested last week. The security service said Malian intelligence. The 4 members of this terrorist cell, dismantled by the Malian intelligence service near Koutiala South, near the Burkinabe borders, took part in the double attack on March 2 in Ouagadougou, as well as abductions of Colombians run in February 2017 in this region of Mali, said the information is in a statement released Wednesday. In Abidjan, security sources pointed out the excellent collaboration between the different departments of Mali, Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast has made it possible to achieve this result. These sources pointed out that the cell had in particular carried out reconnaissance on 2 sides of Abidjan. Ouagadougou was hit on 2 March by a spectacular attack on the staff of the army and the embassy of France, which killed 8 people and wounded 85. It was the 3rd attack in the capital of Burkina Faso. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.